Alright, welcome guys. This is the Unit 4 review. I attempted to film our Adobe meeting today, but it didn't pan out. If you were there, it was a bit of a gong show. Anyway, doesn't matter. Some things that you need to know for the test. So things like this. Let me go through this. Simple stuff. What is the degree of this function? And the answer to that would be 2, because there's a big 2 up here. So the answer is 2. Is this linear? That's another question. Is this a line? Would this be a line? Would this be a line? Think about that for a second. The answer would be that this guy's a line, this guy's not a line. And it's because over here on top of the x you don't have a power, or you have a power of 1 really, and that is a line. Lines are set up so that you have a y is equal to something x, blah 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 blah. You can have plus this, but the biggest power on the x is 1. Okay, so that's a line. So that's linear. That's not linear. Other things like this, if I asked you this, what is the slope of this guy? I'm sure you could figure that out. Okay, 3x plus 1. There's your slope. There's your y-intercept. Simple stuff. If I ask you what's the slope of this guy, let's do that for fun. What's the slope of this? Don't come in and tell me that it's the number in front of the 4. You got to rearrange this. This is y equals mx plus b form. So this is in this form. It's also called slope-intercept form. This is in standard form, or actually this is not in standard form. This is just a different type of form. Standard form would be if it was like this. Let me just rearrange this. Let me rewrite this like this. Okay, so there's standard form. No, that's actually not standard form either. Standard form would be something like this. Okay, something x plus or minus something y plus something is equal to 0. So if I had any of these forms and I said what is the slope, I can't figure that out right away. What I have to do is rearrange it. So let's stick with this guy here. What you're going to do then is rearrange and isolate for y. I have a negative y, so I like to bring that across the equal sign. And then I end up with 4x plus 8 is equal to 2y. And then I'll divide by 2 to get 2x plus 4 is equal to y, or y is equal to 2x plus 4. Then there's my y, or my m, sorry, there's my slope, and the 4, that's a 4, is my b. So my intercept is 4, my y-intercept is 4, and my slope is b. So give me a second here. Let me add another page. Good. And let's switch up to green. So other things that I might ask you on the test is that partial variation? Is that direct variation? Is that direct variation? Which one, here, let's pretend that's going through the origin. Which ones of these is partial variation? Which one of these is partial variation? Okay. This guy here is direct because my b is 0. This guy here is direct because my b is 0. The rest of them, which do not go through the origin, do not have a y-intercept of 0. They are partial variation. They already started above 0, and then they keep going based on their slope. Okay, that's what partial variation is all about. So that could be another question. Another thing I could ask you, and will ask you, are things like this. Here's a point, here's a point. Give me the slope. Okay, so you can get that off a graph, or you could even say, look, this point is 2, 9. This point is, I don't know, 0, 16. What's the slope of this one? So you would call this x1 and y1, x2 and y2. That wouldn't matter if you called this set x1 and y1 and this one x2 and y2. That's not important. Delta y over delta x is your slope. One way to get your slope, the rise over your run. And you could do that if it's on a, I mean, if it's already sketched, right? You could just look at it and go, okay, hold on a second. This guy here is here and this one's here, so my rise is -7 and my run is 2, so my answer is -7/2, which is fine, or you can write it like this if you want, -3.5. Or you can look at it and say delta y over delta x, so that's y2, subtract y1, subtract, x2 subtract x1, and then that turns 9, subtract 16 is that, and that's that, and that takes you over here. Okay, that's okay. If you ever end up with this as a slope, where does the negative go? The negative can go with the 7. The negative actually go with the 2 also. This isn't something we usually write though. Okay, that's -7/2, and that's still the same size as this, and it's the same size as this. But usually, what we try to do is either throw the negative in front of the bracket of the fraction, or throw it up top. Okay, so next up, let's keep going. What else is on the test? Oh, what did you say? I went backwards. We're going backwards. What's going on there? I don't know what's happening. Okay, so let's switch this up for a second, and let's say, hey, what are they? Here's a different equation. 4y minus 2x is equal to 3, something like that. And I want to find out what are the x and y intercepts. So here's my x-intercept, and that takes place when y is 0. So if I'm moving up and down y, where does anything hit here, my x-intercept, so this is x, this is y. It takes place when my y value is 0, where I'm on the line. I haven't left by going up, I haven't left by going down. And to find that, you just say, okay, y is 0. And if y is 0, what's x? X is, so sub that in, y is equal to 0. X is then negative 2/3. So for this line, negative 2/3, so somewhere around here, I don't have a scale, but if that was my scale, it would be here. That's my y-intercept, or my x-intercept. So there's my x-intercept. If I want to find my y-intercept, I set x equal to 0. So I'll go like this, and then I get 4y is equal to 3, y is equal to 3/4. So that'd be something over here. And then you could sketch it like that. So these are my slopes. These are my intercepts. This is also the point 0, negative 2/3, 0. Okay, I've moved to the left negative 2/3, and I have gone up nothing. And this is the point 0, 3/4. And again, decimals are fine. Okay, so there's that. Let's add another page. And what else could I ask you? I'm gonna ask you some word problems. I'm gonna ask you things like, here's a scenario. Really quick, sketch this line. Where do they intercept, and what does that mean in real life? Okay, so there were a bunch of homework questions like that. So basic stuff like that. And then the other thing, there's a big part about this. Sketch these lines. So if I say, hey, what's y is equal to 1, and what's x equal to 2? Those are two different lines. Y is equal to 1, so y equal to 1 means I'm right here. I go up to 1. And I'm always at y is equal to 1. My y value is always 1. So if my x is 0, I'm at 1. If my x is 1, I'm at 1. If my x is whatever, I'm at 1. So this guy here is going to be a horizontal line. If I want to switch this up, just change the color real quick. X is equal to 2. Well, x is equal to 2 always. It's equal to 2 when y is 0. It's equal to 2 when y is anything else. And that'll be a vertical line, something like that. If I said sketch this guy, y is equal to 3x minus 7. The easiest way to do that is go down to minus 7. There's my intercept. And then my next point will be over 1 up 3, because this says my rise over run is 3. So when I go over 1, I'll go up 3. I have a rise of 3, a run of 1. There's that point, and then connect the dots, and there's that line there. Okay, the last thing that you really want to work on, I think this stuff's kind of straightforward, is something very similar to the U4A6 assignment. So things like this: if my slope is negative 1/2, and I have a y-intercept of 2, what's the equation of my line? So what happened there? That's a simple one. It keeps doing this. Stop doing that. I'm not stealing anything, guys. It's just out of date. Negative 1x plus 2, something like that. Okay, if I have a slope that, let's look at this line right now. Let's say, okay, here's my new line. It's perpendicular to this guy. And it has a y-intercept that's similar to this line right here, 3x plus 7. What's the slope? Well, what's the formula for that line? Well, if it's perpendicular to this, it's going to be not negative 1 over 2, but you're going to flip that to make it 2 over 1, and then you're going to change the sign from negative to positive. And then you're going to clean that up and just call it 2. So my new line is going to be 2x, y is equal to 2x, and since I said that it has the same intercept as this line here, my intercept 7, and there's my answer. I could come back and say, okay, forget that. Let's look at this line right here, and let's say that my new line is parallel to this one, and let's say it's parallel to that and passes through the point 2, 4. I don't know. Let's check that out. What's that line all about? Well, if it's parallel to that line, then I have something that has the same slope. Parallel lines have the same slope, so negative 1/2 x plus b. And I don't know what my y-intercept is here. And to find that out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sub in my x and y, 2 and 4, because I know that it passes through the point 2, 4. So at some point, when y is 4, x is x is 2. On this line, I just don't know what b is. So I sub that in to find out what is this line that has this b. Because, here's the deal. That slope of negative 1/2, so negative 1/2 is something that's fairly flat and goes down like that. there are an infinite number of lines, pretend these are parallel, infinite number of lines with that slope, but only one of them passes through the point 2, 4. It's pretty amazing if you think about it. So if I have the point 2, 4, so 2, 4, only one of these lines, just this guy right here, is the one that passes through here. Okay, so if I have a point like this and I have all these parallel lines, you notice that only one will come through. And how am I going to tell you what this line is? Well, the way I'm going to define it is I'm going to tell you what the B is. So I have to find the B. I have to find the intercept. And to do that, I just keep going here. So that's 4 is equal to negative 1/2. That's negative 1 plus B. Solve for B. B is equal to 5. And then now my new equation is, I'm out of room, but I'll write it here. It's negative 1/2 x plus 5. And that's about it. That's everything in this unit, I'd say, in a nutshell. Hopefully you have a good understanding of that. If not, try to send me an email before you start your test. And good luck. Take care. Bye.